Hi maatjies! Today we're doing a fun video. Today we're doing bookrecs for your favorite show. I've recently started watching Fire Country season 2 and I was like, I'm currently reading a book that feels very much like this series, and I was thinking maybe let's do a video like that where I recommend a series for a book or a TV show for a book series that gives me the same vibes. Speaking about Fire Country, that's the first show on my list. Now, if you don't know what Fire Country is about, it's about this man that was sent to prison for a reason I can't remember, but he was sent to prison, and as parole he goes to a fire camp and learns to be a firefighter, and then his prison sentence gets shortened. It was a bit hard for me to find recommendations for a series like this because it's in a small town. It's not like Chicago Fire or Station 19 or 911 where it's like in a big city. This is a small town with like one police station, one fire station, one restaurant. So it's a very small town. The family dynamic is very close-knit, like everyone knows everyone. And I was thinking, you know, we need some small town romances up in here, and it's very hard to find small town romances where there are firefighters, at least from my experience. So the first recommendation is the Eden Firefighter series. Is a 5-book series, which every book follows a different couple in the series, and it's about these brothers that kind of serve and protect the town that they live in. So we have small town check, we have family dynamics because they're all brothers or related, so we have a lot of different things. We have some surgeons, we have firefighters, of course, we have police, we have all these things. But this book in the series is called Saving Sophia, and this is about a woman that moves to town for a fresh start. She's a single parent, single mom, and it's about this other man who was an ex-Navy SEAL, and he was a traumatic surgeon. He was like a battle surgeon. So he was an ex-combat surgeon. He got hurt on the job, and now he opened up a clinic in his hometown, and Sophia is one of the doctors that is working at the clinic. Sophia is the typical Sunny Sunshine character, and he's the typical asshole that really doesn't like anyone, that's really kind of rude. So she just lightens everything up. We have a lot of fun tropes. We have single parent trope, we have ex-Navy, we have Grumpy Sunshine, which, you know, is my favorite. We just have this whole world that's filled with the right feelings that really reminds me of Fire Country. Another series, actually a lot of this author series really reminds me of the dynamic of small town cop shows and like Fire Country, and that is Archer by Dr. Rebecca Sharp. Archer is the first book in the Reynolds Protective series. Now this is also a book about brothers, a series about brothers. This series isn't about firefighters though. This is about a security group, security company. They all were law enforcement. They all were like trained in like the traditional sense of fighting and stuff, but they run a protective, basically a private police type thing in their small town. The first book in the series, called Archer, is about Kira, and Kira's dad is in a bit of trouble because he's testifying against the Irish mob. So of course our lady needs some protection, and who better than police officer Archer to protect her whilst her father is basically ratting out his ex-friends and family and stuff to the police. Obviously we know how it goes. They get feelings for each other. She fakes her death, he blames himself, and then they meet up again in his hometown. How funny was that? The next book is Betrayed, also by Rebecca Sharp, or Dr. Rebecca Sharp. This is a different series, but they are connected. Like, you get some cool cameos in the series, which is really fun. This book is the first book in the Covington Security series. This is an 8-book series, so that's very fun. Also follows brothers, and is also set in a small town. The first book, they also run a security company. This book is really similar to Archer, but it has enough differences where it's not the same. So our female main character is also kind of on the run. These women, like, they're getting in some stuff. So she basically faked to death and changed her identity, and now lives in a small town, all with the help of Ace. And they always had like such a close bond, and then suddenly after opening her business, after going viral because of how successful her business are and how much it helps other women that were in like dangerous situations like her before, she starts getting threats. She starts getting like, we know where you are, we're coming for you, and she turns to Ace for his protection. Now, yeah, like, this is like the most stretchiest of stretches from Fire Country, but I feel like the feeling is the same. The feeling is the same. It's like the same feelings. When I think Fire Country, I think this series. When I watched Fire Country, I like felt what I felt reading this series. The next series, also a favorite series of mine, is Outlander. This Outlander is such a unique story. It's like something I've never seen before in like historic pieces or period pieces. And I've watched a lot of period shows, and I haven't ever seen something like Outlander. If you don't know what Outlander is about, it's about a woman called Claire, and she's a 1940s combat nurse, and the war has just ended, and she and her husband go to Scotland to like try to revive their marriage. Whilst there, she basically time travels back into time, like 200 years in the past, and she's in the 18th century, I think 18th or 17th century. And there she gets up to all kinds of shenanigans. She meets a Highlander with the name Jamie. They get married out of convenience, and then that's just their story. Obviously, if you want a show or a book that feels like Outlander, read the Outlander novels. There's like a bunch, and there's spin-off series about all characters in there. But if you have read Outlander and you're looking for something similar, Beyond the Highland Mist by Karen Marie Moning is like identical to Outlander. It's quite similar. It's very similar. It's also about a woman traveling back to the past from her current time. I think she's like in the 60s or something, I'm not sure. And she travels back to like medieval Scotland, so like way before the 17th century, 18th century, like Jamie. But she travels back in time. She meets basically a Neanderthal, also a Highlander, and because of her survival, because she's so outspoken, so rude, everything a 14th century woman shouldn't be, so she gets married to our male main character out of convenience. So very Claire and Jamie essence there. So yeah, it also gives me the feels of Outlander, like the scenery, the castles. Beyond the Island Mist is like the perfect recommendation for it. It's like Outlander to the T. It's like Outlander with like a few tweaks. The next show is Teen Wolf. Now, yeah, okay, I think you either like Teen Wolf, or you watch Teen Wolf and the Vampire Diaries, or you didn't watch shows like that. I did watch Teen Wolf, and I watched it with my dad when I was, like 14 years old, whatever. So, Teen Wolf is, if you didn't know, a show about werewolves, shocking, and about a teenager that turns into a werewolf because he got scratched or bitten or something. We have different type of beasts. We have banshees, we have demons, we have evil wolves, we have lots of things in Teen Wolf. Darkness of Light by Stacey Marie Brown is Teen Wolf. We have a female protagonist that is in high school. This is a new adult romance, but it's also fantasy-esque. We have wolves, we have shifters, we have fae, we have kings and queens, we have like a lot of different elements here, just like the Teen Wolf show. Our main character Ember is our typical female main character in a fantasy novel. She's kind of rude and she likes to swear a lot and doesn't really like men telling her what to do. I think she witnessed like her mom's murder or something. She finds her mom's body, like her mom gets murdered, she finds her body, and her and her dad move away. And after making trouble at her new school, her dad's like, come on girl, what the hell? And then she gets put into a juvenile facility. She meets a boy, obviously the ultimate bad boy. He's in a biker gang, and because of her mom's murder, she's been starting to see things that she's never seen before. And that's when she's introduced into this world of shifters and vampires and the fae, and it's really good. I haven't seen anyone speak about this series, and it's really good. The next show is the Shadowhunters Mortal Instrument show on Netflix. Now, I've watched the show a few times. I've watched it when it came out, where they were still releasing new seasons, and I've rewatched it like a few times. Now, of course, if you haven't read Cassandra Clare's books, which this show is based on, I highly suggest that. But the book series is like, what, 10-15 books long, so I won't blame you if you don't want to touch that with like a 10-foot pole, because that's so intimidating. I want to read that series, but I just haven't got the guts to start with the first book. That's like, where I don't even want to talk about the stuff that happens there or what I've heard. The first book I want to recommend is called Inescapable by Amy A. Bartle. Think like typical 2000s book. This is what this is. This came out like in 2014, so think Mortal Instruments, Divergent, Twilight. It's like in that era. Fallen. It's like everything that you want for a book that you want to make you feel like the Shadowhunters show. This book is Shadowhunters, basically. We have vampires, we have I think we have wolves, I'm not sure, we have angels, we have demons. This is like perfect like rebound to read if you've just finished the show, or if you've just finished reading Cassandra Clare's massive series. If you did that, well fucking done, because I'm too terrified. We also have some pretty similar scenes. We have training scenes to fight demons, and we have like, when I read the book, I imagined like the Shadowhunters training room, and that really like sold it for me to recommend it for this video. The second book I want to recommend for the Shadowhunters show is called Revelation, and it's written by Randy Cooley Wilson, I think. This series, or it's a series, the series is really similar to Fallen, and if you haven't read Fallen like I have, but I've seen the movie, this is kind of very similar. Like when I read this, I was like, this is Fallen. So we have a main character, her name's Eve, and when she turned 18, she started having these nightmares, and she was being chased by them, and then, but not to worry, we have a hot man that's here to save her. So we have a lot of creatures here, we have a lot of people, we have a lot of things that I've never seen in any fantasy book. We have vampires, we have angels, we have demons, and we have gargoyles. Yeah, those things. We have those things in here. And basically, this man or gargoyle was set out to protect her, and obviously they fall in love, and it's just Clary and Jace. It's just them. like them in an essence. It just gives Clary and Jace vibes, if you know what I mean. So you have to read the book to understand. You just have to read it. If you want more shows, I have a lot, but I've been recording for a while now. So if you want more, I have a lot of shows that I can do. Leave your favorite shows in the comments, like, or if you even have recommendations for your favorite shows, please let me know. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you when I see you. Hold your hand while dancing, never leave you standing, crestfallen on